Okay, let's dive right in. The absolute bedrock of software revenue for the last 20 years is suddenly collapsing. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking a massive structural earthquake happening right now in the SaaS industry. For 2 decades, companies paid by the seat, literally a license for every human logged in. It was simple, it was predictable, and it made vendors incredibly wealthy. But that entire model, it's fracturing right before our eyes. And the sheer velocity of this drop is just staggering. Per-seat pricing has plummeted to a mere 15% market share in just 12 months, down from 21%. Now, in the enterprise software world, a 6% market shift in a single year is virtually unheard of. We are literally watching the real-time abandonment of the most successful monetization strategy in the history of the cloud.
So this begs a huge, mystery novel kind of question for the software industry. What exactly came along and killed the predictable per-seat pricing model? Models that are this entrenched, they don't just fade away organically, right? They get disrupted by something completely incompatible with the old way of doing business. So to solve this mystery, we need to examine the victim, the culprit, and the weapon that changed everything.
Section 1. The End of Per-Seat, a Business Autopsy.
For years, buyers have harbored this core frustration. The per-seat model basically turns your growth into a tax. Think about it. If you hire 50 new employees, your software bill instantly balloons, regardless of whether those new hires actually use the tool to its full potential, or if they just log in once a month to check a single dashboard. It's literally a penalty for growing. And the immediate friction comes down to basic math. SaaS prices recently surged by over 11%, while corporate IT budgets barely budged at 2.8%. Software vendors have been aggressively squeezing their existing customers to fuel their own growth. When you combine that hyperinflation with super tight budgets, buyers are forced to aggressively audit every single license they pay for.
Moving on to Section 2. The Culprit, How AI Broke the Math.
Okay, so the crucial point here is this paradox. Imagine you're running a customer service platform charging $50 per human agent. You launch an incredible AI copilot, and suddenly a team of 30 agents is reduced to 12 doing the exact same amount of work. Well, under the old model, the vendor just innovated their way into a 60% revenue loss. The per-seat model literally punishes you for making your customers more efficient. Crazy, right?
The underlying unit economics have totally flipped. Traditional software had zero marginal cost. Giving access to user number 10 or user 10,000 cost the vendor basically nothing. But AI changes the whole game. Every single prompt, every generated response, burns expensive GPU cycles and API tokens. You simply cannot offer a flat per-seat price when your own costs scale up with every single click.
Cling to the old ways, and you're going to hit a wall fast. You hit 3 major failure modes. First, those expensive compute costs erode your fixed revenue. Second, as AI replaces human tasks, you lose your seat licenses. And third, your heavy AI users will literally cost you more in computing power than they actually pay you in fees, all while your light users feel entirely ripped off. It is a total recipe for margin destruction.
Which brings us to Section 3, the victim's retaliation, buyer pushback. The financial stakes right now are just staggering. Businesses are spending $7,900 per employee every single year just on software tools. That's a massive 27% increase over just 2 years. For a company of 1,000 people, that is nearly $8 million a year just sitting in software licenses. With numbers this high, CFOs are putting every single contract under a microscope. Because of that massive expense, finance teams are aggressively targeting what the industry calls shelfware. It makes absolutely zero sense to pay for a bundle of 200 licenses just to get some volume discount when only 40 people are actually logging into the tool every day. The era of buying excess seats just in case is completely over. Buyers only want to pay for what they are actually using.
Buyers finally have the leverage. They know AI is doing the heavy lifting, not the humans sitting at the keyboards. CFOs are straight up demanding that pricing aligns directly with actual outcomes, tasks completed, and real value delivered, not just the number of warm bodies in the office.
Section 4. The New Blueprint, Hybrid Pricing.
Enter the hero of our story, hybrid pricing. This model is a total game changer because it solves the core trade-off perfectly. It gives the vendor a stable, predictable revenue floor through a base subscription while fairly charging the customer based on their actual consumption of AI tokens or API calls.
The market is dividing super clearly. Pure seat-based pricing is dying out due to shelfware and AI efficiencies. Pure pay-as-you-go pricing, on the other hand, is way too volatile for corporate finance teams trying to accurately forecast their budgets. But hybrid, it hits the absolute sweet spot, charging for access, then scaling with usage. The only minor trade-off is slightly more back-end complexity for the vendor.
When you look under the hood, a hybrid architecture relies on a few modular components. You might have a really low base fee to get people in the door, a flat subscription for basic platform access, and then you layer on usage metering or prepaid credits for the heavy AI lifting. This structure makes sure that a tiny startup and a massive global enterprise both feel like the pricing was custom-built exactly for them.
And the financial proof? It's completely undeniable. SaaS companies that have utilized the hybrid model are seeing a 21% median revenue growth rate that significantly outpaces their competitors who are stubbornly sticking to pure subscription or pure usage models. When you align your price with the actual value the customer receives, your business grows faster. It really is that simple. Because of that stellar growth, the market has shifted dramatically. Hybrid pricing has rapidly expanded to command a massive 41% market share. It is the dominant force now. Meanwhile, that traditional per-seat model we started this explainer with is shrinking rapidly in the rearview mirror, sitting way down at just 15%.
Section 5. Winning the new SaaS era. If we look at the heavy hitters setting the absolute standard right now, names you definitely know like OpenAI, Anthropic, and Cursor, they are all natively running hybrid models. They aren't trying to force-fit AI into a per-seat box. They charge a flat monthly fee for baseline access, and then they capture the upside of heavy usage through token billing, credit pools, and metered compute.
So the new golden rule for software vendors is to avoid the old trap of unlimited AI. If you offer unlimited AI in a flat subscription, your power users will literally bankrupt you by burning through expensive GPU compute. The survival playbook for 2026 and beyond is to bundle a baseline allowance of AI access and then strictly monetize the heavy consumption with credits.
This transition is totally inevitable. Market analysts at IDC are actually projecting that a massive 70% of the software industry will completely abandon pure per-seat pricing by the year 2028. The industry has finally woken up to the fact that charging for human headcount in an age of AI automation makes zero economic sense.
I'll leave you with this provocative thought to chew on regarding the software tools you use, or maybe even the software you sell. As AI continues to evolve and take over complex workflows, is your pricing truly aligned with the value delivered? If the AI is doing the work, it's time to stop charging for the chairs. Thanks for diving into this explainer with me, and definitely keep a close eye on those invoices.